Hey, so I'm reading the Bible and I'm kind of connecting it to the current situation. Like, we come from voting, we're always told in our churches and everywhere, and which is actually what we should do. We should pray for our leaders and all so that they can run the country the right way and not the way they think it's right. Because we know the way they think it's right is actually the wrong, right? Most of the time, most of the time, because you cannot say spending the country's money is the right thing. It's not the right thing as the government. So I'm reading First Samuel, and this is when the Israelites wanted a new king, because which they didn't get that point that they already have a king, which is God, right? They already have a king. I mean, they've been in captive, they have been oppressed by other nations and stuff like that, and then God has been delivering them out and stuff, saving them. So God gave them a human king. He raised Samuel, the prophet, to go anoint a new king. So he heard the voice of the people and was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a human king, right? But then the thing is, if your human king rebels against me, it's written, guys, and let me read it. First Samuel 12, verse 14. This is Samuel talking to the Israelites after Saul is now king, right? He says, If the fear of the Lord, if you fear the Lord and serve him and obey his voice and do not rebel against his commandment, then both you and the king who reigns over you will continue following the Lord your God. However, if you do not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandments of the Lord, then the hand of the Lord will be against you, and it as it will be as it was against your fathers. So that's kind of scary, right? Imagine the hand of God being away from you, like, so that's scary. If your king, that this king that you wanted, right, if he rebels against me, then I'm gonna get him off the seat. I'm gonna get him off the seat and I'm gonna put someone else on the seat. On the seat. Which is what happened to Saul, right? Saul forgot God and then rebelled against his commandment, and then he kind of gave himself the glory instead of giving God the glory for winning all these wars and stuff like that. Because man, it's Israel. Israel won many battles and stuff like that because of the help of God, because of the hand of God, right? But then the problem is that Saul gave himself the glory and gave himself everything and did things the way he liked and stuff like that. And then, so how this has to work? The next king should be Saul's son. But then God called Samuel again and was like, okay, this guy forgot me, so go anoint a new king, which is David, right? So, I mean, how would that feel, man? Come on. I mean, how would that feel? I mean, your son should be the next king, but then you hear that someone else is gonna be the king. I mean, he's just a shepherd boy. Which is David. David was just a shepherd, guys, from a family that you would never think the king would be there. So he's just a shepherd. So he's just a shepherd boy and stuff like that. So that's the thing about the power of the greatest government that we should serve. We should listen from the greatest government, because the greatest government, which is the kingdom of God, right, has the power to dethrone the current king and choose someone else. When your son was supposed to be the next king will be someone else. So us as Christians, right, we should listen to the greatest government, because the greatest government will tell us if there's this human government, if he's doing left instead of right, when God said they must do right instead they do left. That's when us as Christians step in and be like, my guy, no, so, and then God tells us to never fear. If God says we should actually take a step where this government would actually execute us, we shouldn't fear. Because, like, it's God who said this, right? So if God said, okay, go there, we should go. One thing that you should know is that if you go there and even if they promise to execute you, they will not, because now you listened to this one who has the power to actually dethrone this one who's actually promising to execute you. So that's the thing, guys. That's the thing about serving the greatest government, because the greatest government is always right. It's always doing the right thing, and it's always choosing the right path for you and for everyone. So that's the thing. That's the lesson. Serve the greatest government. No matter what happens, no matter what your president says, no matter what, but then the voice of God should be the one that is overpowering the word of this government that you are following. I don't care who it is, but man, you won't live like this because you are fearing this government instead of you fearing the greatest one. Don't let yourself live like that. The greatest government doesn't want you to live like that.